anyway, cut a long story short, living in California, I started becoming very regular into smoking in around maybe 2010. I had a really good pattern of I would smoke for a few months and then I would take a few months off, which I strongly advise. I think this is the healthiest way to be with not just smoking weed, but everything in life. Breaks are really important because we learn and we do a lot of our healing in when we have breaks. You know, it's been shown that when you sleep is when you actually learn. During the day when you're awake, you're absorbing, and when you actually go to bed and rest is when everything starts to get learned. It's the same when you're working out, bodybuilding or training. When you're doing the work, you're building, and then when you actually rest, when you're doing the work, you're training and you're tearing the muscles, you're, working everything, and then when you actually rest, everything starts to heal up in its new, stronger way. So it's the same with smoking weed, it's like I would smoke for a few months, I would allow all that knowledge and that new way of seeing things being more open to, I would allow those experiences to take place, and then I would have a break and I'd let it sink in so that it can become a part of my sober way of living. Cut a long story short, I wound up smoking a lot, like every day. Morning, afternoon, night, and day. Now, I never in my life experienced paranoia from weed, never, until I had a breakup. When I had my breakup, and this was after being in a long relationship, literally the week that I experienced the breakup and I started smoking was when I had my first paranoia. I thought I was going to die. And there's a reason for this. I'm going to come to it, okay? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that, living in California, I was around what is extremely unnatural weed. The marijuana there is totally unnatural. Growers focus on the THC more than the CBD, and if any of you are aware of this, the plant has several different chemical elements, including CBD and THC. And just to make it simple, cut it short, THC is what gets you really high, and the CBD it relaxes you. It helps with anxiety. So it's just perfect, the plant in its natural form, because there's this good balance. It will get you high, but at the same time, it's also holding your hand and saying, hey, everything's okay. Be relaxed and be calm. So your anxiety is being treated, and you're getting to go see things in a different way. Now, with the modern plants, with a focus on just the THC, getting that as high as they can, forgetting about the CBD, and they've been breeding so much. I was at the first ever Cannabis Cup in Colorado last year, and I talked to so many of the breeders, and it's just their faces are just like, when you mention CBD, it's just not a concern to them because everybody wants the THC, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I never experienced paranoia until I had a breakup. So there's a reason for the paranoia, okay? Let's dive straight into that. Paranoia basically it comes from resistance, okay? And this is something that applies not just when we're smoking weed. It's basically, you see, when we smoke weed, it enhances where you are, and it opens you up. Now, if you've been hurt, or if you have issues in life, and you're closed, because that's the natural response to when we get punched in the stomach, or, hit or cut, we want to do this. We want to do this, protect ourselves. So the last thing we want is for anyone to come along and be like, open up, open up, open up, do this. it's extremely unnatural to open up this way when you've just been hurt so badly. So the paranoia, just for FYI, you're not going to die. That's the most important thing to know. You're not going to die. There's something very similar to death that is most likely happening, but it's not serious. It's you're going to probably lose consciousness. And the thing is, like, when you start having paranoia, when you start feeling uncomfortable, discomfort in any way when smoking weed, this doesn't apply just to smoking weed, also in life. In life, if you're just sober and you have discomfort, you are not comfortable, you're not, it's because you're resisting. You're not allowing what needs to happen. It's the same with, so when you're smoking weed and you start to feel the paranoia, the fear, this is when it's important to consciously start to just flow and go with it. And rather than resisting and saying, no, 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 just go with the flow. Allow it to happen. If you're seeing evil demons, just be okay with them. Be cool with them. Say, oh, hey, evil demons, I love you. You guys are my friends. Thanks for coming. I've learned so much from you. At the end of the day, the evil demons, if there are, our fears will manifest in different ways. They are simply manifestations of fear. Okay? So it all comes down to fear. Be okay with fear. You're not going to die. Like I said, most have you seen most people, like, do you recall, like, if you have been smoking weed for a long time, that people get knocked out when they smoke weed? Especially really strong weed. You'll be smoking and then you'll just be like, fuck, you just knock out. Now, for a lot of us, that feeling of getting knocked out, especially when you're so aware and this weed is making you more and more aware and intelligent and awakened, the feeling of, like, about to black out, you start, rather than before where it will just boom hit you and you're blacked out. For many very intelligent people, they can feel that, and it feels like they're about to die. So their heart starts to race, they start to worry, you start to resist. You're like, no, 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 I've got it. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah. So you start to fight it, and this is, by the way, I just want to say that I'm not a doctor or anything. Okay, so this is just from my own personal experience, that resistance is going to make it worse. So bottom line is, your fear comes, because of some issues that you might have. So weed can be an incredibly powerful therapeutic tool because it's going to help you meet your issues. And it's an amazing opportunity because when you meet them and you meet that fear and you get that paranoia and that's the time. This is an extremely healing opportunity if you can just have the courage to let go and let what's going to happen, and you're not going to die. If you're worried, put yourself in an environment where it's safe. Like, be with someone who, is going to be there, able to help you. If just to give you reassurance. I haven't thought of a really good business idea for people who want to use weed, therapeutically, to have a business where you'd have a nurse or something standing by, sitting there while you're smoking weed. But that's another topic. So yeah, the key is to flow and not resist, and just to allow. For me, what helped me a lot was through my experiences of paranoia, I realized that I was vilifying and demonizing fear and making it like it's a bad thing. And then I had forgotten that, in life, true love is acceptance of everything. So rather than, like, running away and thinking fear is like the demons, darkness, suffering, depression, sadness, anxiety are all bad things, which is most of us, that's how we instinctually are conditioned to respond to. I started worshiping those things. When I say worshiping, I just started, like, being grateful for them, accepting them, allowing them. And when you do that, it's really freeing, and they just dissolve. They really do. But you have to allow them. When it comes, that's the time for awareness and to be like, oh, hey, fear. hey, come in, come in. I'm not afraid of you. You're part of me. And I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned through you. And I know that you have a purpose in my life. And I don't want you to disappear. I don't want you to go. I want you to stay. When you have that attitude, that's when you can dissolve the fear. So resisting will always make things stronger, not just smoking weed and paranoia, but in life. When you resist things, they're gonna persist, and they're gonna get stronger. But if you can allow them in, love them. That's what love is. Love is acceptance. When you can love the fear, say, "Hey, fear, come in. I love you. I love you. Thank you for coming. You'll be okay." Try this out when you're next smoking weed. I'm going to try and wrap this video up, but also like go slow. Like take a little and then sit back and just, give it some time. And then take a little bit more. Don't like be hitting it hard and then the effects are going to hit you big time. And then you're going to just panic and, okay, go real slow until you start getting to the point where you're starting to hit that panic. And then practice what I'm saying. Flow, don't resist. It could well be that you just want to knock out, and losing consciousness is what happens when we die. So it's terrifying. You feel like you're going to literally die, but you're not. You're just going to probably black out, So, and if you're not going to if you're not going to black out, it's probably that the weed is opening you up and you're just not ready to be opened up. And it could be that you just need to stop smoking for a long time. Goes back to what I said earlier, that the perfect balance, everyone's very different. I was always an active smoker. I trained, I was working, I was drawing, doing art. So I wasn't usually the type to just sit down and do nothing. I like to do things. I found it enhanced just my ability to be me. So everyone's different, know yourself, but I do believe that having breaks is very important in everything. So, think about that. Like, do it for a few months or a few weeks and then take a break for a few weeks. There's people out there that say weed is not addictive. It's BS. Anything can be addictive. Anything. If you are dependent on something for your happiness, that is an addiction. You should not be dependent on anything to the extent where if it's not there, you're going to be miserable. Okay? So, taking breaks also helps with that, so you don't become too dependent on anything. Using things in balance. Balance is important. You do too much of it, you can ruin it for yourself as well. Now, the good thing about it is that even if you are suffering this right now, like I said, it's just an indicator. It's not going to be forever. You're not doomed. You're not going to be like, oh, weed's ruined for me. No. It's just pointing to something with you psychologically that needs to be addressed. So address it, I guarantee you it's going to come down to just opening yourself up and allowing things to happen. And if you can't do it high, do it sober. Open yourself up more so in a sober way. It might be that you're going to need to cry, you're going to need to scream, you're going to need to get a lot of shit out. But get it all out. It's fine. We all go through this. Don't feel ashamed. And you need to get all of this out in order for you to be at peace mentally. So you're not going to die. Everything is fine. It's all about flowing rather than resisting. Go with the flow. I've recently been more into doing mushrooms, and I find them different, quite different. But again, it's you just have to just allow things to go where they go, and it's not easy, but when you do it for the first time, you're going to realize, oh man, what was I worried about? And it's so freeing. It's just awesome. And again, like I said, I'm not a licensed medical professional or anything. This is just my personal opinion, my personal perspective. So be very careful with these things, and um, do your own research. Don't just depend on what I'm saying here. But at the end of the day, like I said, everything in our life, bliss, happiness, and peace, freedom come when you don't resist, when you just allow things. That's what true love is. Allowing everything just to be the way it is. So the day you become, get the courage, like, the ancients used to do drugs, mushrooms, weed. People used to do ayahuasca, still do. And for, the warriors or the young people that, or anyone that they used to do that, for them it was about courage. It was about, I'm going to now open up and I'm going to face death. They used to go into it with the attitude of, I'm ready for death. So, something to think about, yeah? The truth is, when we truly become okay with death, that's when we truly start to live. So, don't want to get too deep there, but it's the truth, guys. Like, anyone out there listening, as soon as you embrace and are ready for death, your life just, boom, just opens up. Why? Because being able to be okay with death is the ultimate love. It's the ultimate letting go and saying, I will accept anything that comes. So good luck out there, and have hope. Yeah, this is not a permanent thing if you're experiencing paranoia. Perhaps try and find some older school weed, like I love Thai stick. It's a lot more towards the original strains. Or find a new strain that has more CBD in there. Yeah, but I think ultimately it's all in your mind, and you just need to go with the flow, relax. Don't make an enemy of darkness, as Kurt says in Apocalypse Now. He says, something along the lines of being a friend with horror, and if you make an enemy of horror, it will truly be an enemy that is going to it's a true enemy. So be at peace with the darkness. Not just at peace, be a friend with it. Say, hey, come in. I appreciate you. I love you. I know that you're a part of me, and I'm never going to get rid of you, and that's not a bad thing. Without the darkness, there's no stars. There's no light.